Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Onyx Path Twitch, where we have returned for a brand new episode of Exalted Essence, The Wild Hunters. That's right, folks. We are back. Our brief holiday break turned a little bit less brief than we'd initially intended, but that's okay. We are now here in full force. All is well, and we are ready to dive back into our tale. But before we do, a few things I would like to make sure to make you aware of. First and foremost, our current crowdfunding campaign is the Trinity Continuum Steam Wars. We have managed to um, reach our crowdfunding goal. We've unlocked our first stretch goal, which is a kaiju supplement, which is very exciting. In case you're unaware of it, Steam Wars is a tangent of the Trinity Continuum, in which in the 1890s, giant steam powered robots are being used to fight the Second Steam War, and you get to play the crew of those giant steam powered robots. It's pretty awesome. I highly recommend you go check it out and lend it your support if you have not yet done so. It's the first Trinity Continuum game to use StoryPath Ultra. It has a really cool, unique, fun setting and beautiful, beautiful art from the wonderful mind of Larry Blamire. Just a few reasons to check it out. But the link is in the chat. Definitely give that a look. Speaking of beautiful art by Larry Blamire, they came from the RPG Anthology is out now over at Drive Through RPG in PDF and POD. Um, that is another place where you might recognize Larry's name from. Larry has done a lot of the art for They Came From. Um, and you can pick that book up now. It's got 11 genres of play in it. Uh, Very huge, lots of things you can bring to the table for your They Came From games. All your cinematic spoof needs are addressed in the anthology. It also has the StoryPath Ultra system included, so you can play your They Came From games in either classic or ultra StoryPath. I think that pretty much takes care of the bill paying. So let's go ahead and meet our folks. Let's kick it off with Bliss. Please tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, your pronouns, their pronouns, and anything you would care to promote.
Hello, my name is Bliss Steele, pronouns she, her. I am playing today Cessus Telrea, also she, her. She is a sneaky thief type with a bow and a big shadow jaguar kitty cat. I used to do spicy gaming streams. I'm on hiatus at the moment, but when I come back, I will certainly try to let you guys know. And I don't really have anything to promote at the moment. So yeah, that's it.
Rock and roll. Well, as always, it is wonderful to have you here and lovely to see your face. Been entirely too long. Speaking of people, it's been entirely too long since I've seen Michael. Your pertinence, please.
Hello, my name's Michael. I go by Asterisk VTuber on Twitch. I am playing Cessus Volcan today, man with big sword. Uh, my pronouns are he, they. His pronouns are he, him. And I am a composer, voice actor, musician that streams on Twitch, and I've been a little bit more present on Twitch nowadays with a new schedule, as well as running a game here on Onyx Path that is going to come back next Thursday. Trinity Continuum Anima Masks in the Mirror. We're kicking off the little final arc of that season, so it's going to be really fun. Ended the last session with everybody getting swept by a machine gun fire. It's kind of fun.
Nice.
Anyways, yeah.
Rock and roll. Definitely do check that out. Trinity Continuum Anima is another wonderful game. Lots of fun. So definitely check out the actual play. Michael's doing an amazing job running. And yeah, looking forward to seeing how this final arc ties up. And then last but not least, of course, that brings us around to Ryan. Please give us your pertinent details.
Yeah, I'm Ryan, they, them. I'm playing Tepet Maris, he, him. I think really the only thing I need to promote right now is Steam Wars. I am a contributing writer, and please go validate my work, I guess. I think the next preview is some of my work. So yeah.
I think
And
I'm not sure where the previews are at right now because I've been terrible at keeping up on it. Um, but I think mine might be in that too. Like the next one's the setting chapter or the setting secrets chapter, right?
I think that one's already gone out. I
Has
think that
it?
was like the second or third one that went out because I was surprised at the order that things went out in. But
Oh,
yeah, the next one is enemy antagonist templates,
gotcha. Cool, sweet. That's
I
awesome.
believe.
I also did work on Steam Wars, but I did a very tiny load bearing structure in the setting
Yeah,
secrets
without that,
chapter.
Travis, it would be a very different book.
But yeah, so definitely check it out, and then send both Ryan and I messages on social media to tell us how awesome our work was,
We
because
do.
we thrive on that sort of thing.
The imposter syndrome is real.
Oh yes, yes, understandably so.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I guess did you have anything else that you needed to promote, Ryan? I started talking over you because Steam Wars came out.
Not that I can talk about.
Mm.
When I can,
Relatable
yes.
content.
But things are moving that need promoting, but quite cooked yet.
Movement is good. So I guess that brings us to me. I'm Travis, pronouns are he, they. When I'm not running games, I'm writing them. The thing that I would like to promote most pertinently, aside from Steam Wars, which you should definitely back if you haven't, is if you head over to Drive Through RPG and look up the Scarred Lands Creature Profiles. Blood Reaper as the first Scarred Lands release for Savage Worlds came out last month. A new one will be coming out Tuesday. That'll be the Flesh Corruptor. And then on March 4th, this is the first time I think I'm announcing the actual date. On March 4th, on GM's Day, the Gauntlet of Spirios for Savage Worlds will be out in advanced PDF over at DriveThruRPG. This contains the entire adventure as well as ready-made characters and all the rules that specific rules you need for Scarred Lands. So you might say it's an enhanced jumpstart. Definitely keep an eye out for those things. That would be greatly appreciated. All right. All that said, let's dive into the party's party. So, before we return to the action, as promised at the end of last session, I'm going to hand out milestones. But because I am nothing if not a benevolent and generous unconquered son, I'm going to, rather than just run us through, I'm just going to give you one of each type of milestone. So you each can go ahead and gain yourself a personal milestone, a minor milestone, a major milestone, and an exalt milestone. And while we're on the subject of me being generous and kind, you also may all increase your essence by 1.
Oh yeah.
As
Wow.
you increase that essence by 1, that will also, I do believe, give you an additional mote.
That would be useful.
How many motes should we have in total now?
6 if it gives us an additional one, I think.
6.
Yep. No, I apologize. 7. You gain 2.
Hell yeah.
2. Okay.
Just makes it all the easier to exalt.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I reach iconic, sorry.
I knew what you meant. If you need a refresher on what you can spend those milestones on, happy to provide it. If you want to wait to spend your milestones, I won't complain. But if you want to get them out of the way, we certainly have the time to go ahead and do so. Let's walk through it. Did you have any improvements that you had your eye on leading up to this, perhaps?
Yes,
I-
I do.
I have an idea.
Oh, well, let's first let's go with Bliss. What do you got?
I would like to make my bow better somehow. How do I do that?
Well, a couple ways. Do you have? I assume you're at 5 in ranged combat, right? Or in? Let me make sure I'm using the right names for the right skills. Yeah, you're at 5 in ranged combat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually wasn't, but now I am because I will spend one of my milestones on that.
Yeah, so that'll minor milestone will kick that up to 5 if you were at a 4 before.
Yeah.
So on a personal milestone, you can gain a new mode or repurpose a charm, or you can purchase a mode unique to your character for any of your charms or spells, or you can unlock, if you have an ability that's at 0, you can get the first dot, um, or you can gain, intensify, or change an intimacy or a tertiary merit, if you'd like. Those are the things you can do on a personal milestone. So, for example, if you wanted to, let me look and see if there are any.
Yeah, can I turn my bow into a merit somehow?
Is your bow right now just a regular bow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, you could let's see. I think you can take artifact as a minor. Yes. Yep. So you could take artifact as a tertiary merit, which basically would let you make a lesser wonder. That would allow you to add the artifact tag to your weapon. Let's see. And just in and of itself, basically what that does then is allows you to then go forth and improve it as an artifact. So right now you're just kind of unlocking that basic capability.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. So
Yeah.
you can add the artifact tag, and I believe you have to bump it up to secondary before you start getting any actual benefits from it, other than it having the artifact tag. Having said that, though, you could use your major milestone to raise that merit to a secondary, and then add more capabilities to your bow if you wanted.
Yeah. So I used my minor to raise my raged combat. I used my personal to
Yep.
make it a tertiary
Tertiary
artifact
merit.
thingy.
Yep.
And then I'll use my major to raise it.
Right, to raise it to a secondary artifact.
Cool.
Excellent. Then we can get into what that does in just a moment. And then on your Exalt milestone, you can learn a Universal or Exalt charm, not including martial arts certifications, or you can you would gain any other special effects that may have benefits or triggers that occur on a specific milestone. So basically, you can learn a new charm on that milestone.
I will do so.
So let's real quick look at your artifact weapon. Appreciate your patience while I dig through this. All right, so you will increase all of the weapons stats, the accuracy, damage, defense, and overwhelming will all increase by 1.
Nice.
And you can now purchase evocations for it. So if you wanted to buy a charm that specifically worked because of your bow, like that basically only your bow uses, you don't use, you may do so.
Oh,
I'll give you a moment to flick through those for, you look at the ranged. I would suggest starting with ranged combat, maybe going into some of the finesse ones if possible. And while we're doing that, I'll swing over to Michael. You said you had some stuff in mind for what you were going to spend on?
Yes. Also depends on one specific question. If
Sure.
I went and used my major milestone to purchase a merit involving a Hearthstone, would it possibly be just a little later on, probably like after combat, if I found something or whatnot? Is that something that we could work on for that particular thing?
Yeah,
Or
absolutely. If it's something that for some reason you want to work in as a result of what's happening, I have some ideas. Do you have a specific idea in mind of how you would like to come about it?
um the only idea that I was thinking of is potentially, I mean, I'm trying to remember all of the little things that happened around the time we were fighting, and it's like maybe it was like some one of the Exalted that we're fighting had something on them.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say it would be very easy as these things drop, especially right now, for it to be like, oh, I took this Hearthstone off this dead dragon blood that I just beat the snot out of, for example.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, no objection to that whatsoever.
okay, so I'll grab that for my. I'm just gonna write it down real quick for as a Hearthstone, but it would be a secondary one, because it cannot be tertiary. And then for my charms, I decided that I would like to use my. I want to check the order of it. I would be able to purchase a new universal charm on the Exalt milestone, and I would like to do the what is it called? What was it called again? Iron Kettle Body.
Okay,
And then I would also use my personal milestone to repurchase Iron Kettle Body.
okay,
So I will have 2 levels of Iron Kettle Body. And then with my minor milestone, I will increase my integrity by 1.
beautiful,
That would be all of my milestones.
excellent. And Ryan, how about you? You got any plans for the milestones?
Yes. So I was thinking, in the wake of our heroic saving of the governor
Sure.
and everyone in the place affected by the sidereal, that we've gained some minor notoriety, and we'll gain some further notoriety with hopefully defeating this raid. So at some point, I'm spending the personal milestone now for a traveling band of followers as a tertiary merit. If that's cool,
Sure.
just
Sick.
sorry, like the followers are a traveling band, just minstrels, bards, etc., spreading the good news,
Okay.
emphasizing that House Tepet is involved, even though its fortunes are currently, you know,
Of course, yeah. You need
low.
every good hero needs their theme music, and House Tepet could
Exactly.
use some PR. So both of those things make sense.
My Exalt milestone, I had an idea for a spell. I was going to write it and then run it by you.
Okay,
So if that's cool, I'll spend it now on a spell, and I'll write the spell and send it to you.
absolutely.
Once I've got the thing, and then the other two, I'm seriously, based on how things have been going so far, and some defensive problems that my character currently has. If I put uh get this the right way around. If I put one of the milestones into being close combat to 4, I can then take the third Wood Dragon martial art merit, which makes it just a bit harder to hit me.
No objections. Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, if you want to write up that spell and send it my way, we can look at it. I can look at it after stream. Unless it's very simple, then I can look at it right now and be like, yeah, sure, why not? Or
No, because I've got some. I would currently like one of two ways I could take it,
yeah,
and I'd rather play the
bit.
game rather than make decisions like that.
Makes sense. Cool. Does that reflect all of your milestones then?
That is all for yes.
Dope. Bliss, did you find either a new charm or any evocation like you'd like to add to the bow, or do you want to wait until after the session and just know that you have that slot for it?
Yeah, I think I'll add the streaming arrow stance charm on page 209.
Ooh, that sounds fancy and fun. Streaming arrow stance?
Yes. While streaming arrow stance is active, the Exalted calculates her defense using ranged combat instead of close combat or athletics.
Wonderful.
Very defensive bow.
That's awesome. I love it. So are you taking that as like a charm you're learning or as like a power of the bow?
I think I'll just take it as myself.
Okay. So that bow does have the capability now. You can sort of imbue powers into it, but as of right now, there are no powers in the bow. So then let's sort of pull things together and get to where we're at. When last we met, you were facing off against 3 dragon bloods of House Pelops, correct? And they were in charge of a battle group, soldiers. The fight had grown quite brutal. If I recall properly, Telrea's anima was at like a 9, right? So like there's
Something
like
ridiculous.
there's like a massive tsunami going on around this neighborhood. I believe Vulcan had your aura up and 1 halo at this point, correct?
Yes, I think I spent my anima to make the eruption point with my sword with my diclave. But yeah, yeah.
And Maris, you had been building a rather significant stockpile of will behind your battle group, correct? And you're sort of back away from the rest of. You're not quite in the mix of this fight. You're sort of backed up away from.
Yeah, I'm at a safe distance. Where's my battle group? Also, I just checked and I can't do what I said I was going to do, so I'm just going to put raise close combat to 4 and one of my attributes to 5.
Okay, that's fair. The bear was up in the middle, like up in the face of the opponent battle group, as was, I believe, your Shadow Jaguar. Is that accurate? And there were 2 of the Dragon Bloods were on the ground, basically engaged with Vulcan in like close combat, while the third was, if I'm not mistaken, dangling by his fingertips off of a rooftop across the way from Telrea. Does that sound about like where we parked?
Yes.
As the last round of combat completes, this huge anima banner is going. The entire area is sort of flooded with water. The anima banners of the opponent dragon bloods now starting to sort of cook and create like steam effectively, where it's interacting with Telrea's anima banner as the flaming anima banners are sort of trying to cook off the water. Things that normally might work in harmony among dragon bloods this time clashing, almost as if it's a poetic reflection of the differences between your groups. And while that is occurring, the excitement of the issue, perhaps the dire need as it settles in, as something clicks inside of each of you, and you realize this is more than just putting down some sort of uprising. Like, this is a fundamental breaking point for the realm. Like, something is deeply wrong here. And as that reality clicks in, each of you feels a great surge of power from within, as if called upon by your own inherent divine natures to rise to the occasion. As that power swells through you, your essence increases, your motes fill, and you become the current reflections of your traits. Um, the yes,
I have a question.
I
I
have an
just
answer.
read something that when the circle's member's essence is increased, we may choose another ox body or excellency to acquire for free.
Oh, knock yourselves out. Let's do it. Select an excellency or an ox body. I appreciate you bringing that up because I did not note that part.
I think
No,
I
because
will.
we're a circle, like, and it's a bonded circle thing.
Is it is it just, or are we? It was just us, no? Are we not a bonded circle? Or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, is that because we are? Sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yep. Thank you for
That's what that
catching that
says.
because I would have missed it.
Yeah, it's just like a last sentence on the increase in essence part of advancement.
Oh, hey, look at that. Reach shall all die, even in underlined. Yep. So you may add either a level of ox body or a excellency of your choice.
I will add a close combat excellency here.
Wonderful. How about for Talrea?
I will add a ox body.
Wonderful. Make sure to adjust your health levels accordingly. And then how about for Maris?
I might take an excellency to mix it
Just
up slightly.
sure. And just double checking on ox body so that we make sure we have the right information. Because I know historically that one's been a bit of a stickler. As a dragon blood, when you repurchase it, you gain an additional -1 health level. Sound solid?
Yeah.
Good.
Any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns?
Nope.
Ready to dive into the madness?
Yes.
I will remind you all, talking crazy gets you stunt dice. So, we return to our heroes as this swell of energy washes over you. You're filled with a new sense of purpose as the stakes become clear to you. It's not just Wu Jian that is at stake. This is a battle for the realm itself. Vulcan, the initiative is yours. You are facing off with 2 dragon bloods. What would you like to do?
Okay. I have brand new shiny toys and I would like to use them immediately.
Sure.
I will commit 2 motes right now to activate the Iron Kettle body with for 2, and that will committing it will essentially give me +2 soak for the duration of the scene.
All right.
So I will go ahead and do that and write that in, and then that will effectively put me at 7 soak. So making sure I don't die because I'm in the middle of everything. And then I will. Which did I actually do any damage to any of them? I don't think so. My power is maxed out on my sheet, so I feel like I haven't actually done a decisive attack.
So our current situation is there is one who has been knocked prone That's the one who's considered prone, the one that's hanging off the roof. The others, one is down 3 health. I'm not sure who dealt that injury to the one that you're facing. Might have been you. Probably
Mhm.
was you. But it probably wasn't the last turn or two because you're at full power. So the one who is facing off to you, the old man Danny Rand, the burning fist guy, um, his soak is penalized right now due to, I believe, a power that Maris unleashed.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good target to go for. And I will throw my decisive strike into him. Uh if it is possible to walk me through all of the steps once more that I'm going to do because
Oh,
it's been a while,
of course, and we
unfortunately.
are absolutely going to do this by the book. So bear with us because sometimes by the book takes a second. So your step one, I'm
Hmm.
assuming you is where you declare your action. If you're making an attack, you state whether it's withering or decisive. You must have accrued enough power equal to or greater than target's hardness to make a decisive attack. Any miscellaneous action that you need to declare is declared now, as well as any power you'd like to wager. Um, Furthermore, you activated a charm on this step, correct?
Yes.
All right, excellent. So then you can't activate any more charms on this step. Um, so you're declaring a decisive attack, correct?
Yes.
How much power would you like to wager?
I will wager all of it.
Excellent. So that's 9 power.
That is let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 actually. I was capped out.
Excellent. So the Dragon Blood you're facing off on step 2 is going to attempt to parry this blow. They're going to
Okay.
attempt to knock the incoming blow out of the way with their hand. Um, Next, we will determine step 3. We'll determine your attack pool and roll our dice. So, which attribute are you leaning on? Which combat ability are you leaning on? And what sort of what's the attack look like? What are we doing?
So the immediate thought is while I'm fighting, to flavor it, I noticed that the, how would you describe the soak being penalized for this guy? How would you describe that effect?
There's a bloody nose. He's kind of uh, breathing heavily and doing a bit of like the not quite to the finish him sway, but very but very close to it. Uh,
Hmm.
Definitely looks like he's winded. It's very clear that he's trying his best to regain his footing.
Okay. So if that is the case, I'm actually going to, I believe I was in combat in contact with the other Dragonborn or Dragon Blooded before. So I'm gonna take my Diclave like with both hands, and before I swing it down on top of him, I'm going to make a move to strike him with the hilt, and it's going to be one continuous motion regardless. So it's just a flavor of whether or not that parry goes through. If the parry doesn't go through, then it's just I push his arms away before I slash him down.
Right on.
That
So
makes
kind of
sense.
giving him a 1-2 with the
Yeah,
hilt to the blade. Excellent.
yeah, just a little bit more wrist motion first before I swing in.
Well, let's get that close combat. Let's get any modifiers due to your weapon. Which attribute would you like to pair with that?
Finesse.
Are you applying any excellencies?
Uh, why not?
Excellent. Go ahead and do that. And
Why
then you may
not?
also have 2 stunt dice, which you may or may not spend at this point. It is up to you. Just also remember a thing to keep in mind that we've not been great at tracking so far is that there is a dice limit. Your base pool can never have more than 10 additional dice.
Oh,
So,
10 additional. I see.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're good. I
Um,
think I only have 7 additional right now.
all right. And Ryan has disappeared for the moment. Hopefully, they return momentarily. Um, Go ahead and give me that roll.
Okay, I will spend the moat for the excellency. And then this roll reminds me what are successes again?
You are looking for 8s, 9s, and 10s.
8s, 9s, and 10s. Perfect. So our 10s are doubled, and because of my halo, 9s are also doubled on the defensive strike.
Correct.
So I will do 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. 11 successes.
Wonderful. Let's see. Their defense is not that.
I'd be kind of scared if it was.
Yeah, certainly not. So in that case, then you will spend your power. The damage pool is equal to the amount of power spent plus your extra successes. You got 11.
Yes.
So 8 is your extra successes.
Okay. So I will go ahead and do that real quick.
And then you get the automatic successes equal to the damage of your weapon.
All right. So with this flavor, that means the parry has failed, or is the
Yeah,
parry?
so effectively what's happened is as you've brought down the hilt, he gets the arm up. The arm is going to be knocked down out of the way across his chest, sort of spinning him to kind of expose the neck. Now, depending on how many successes you get, will determine, for example, whether or not the arm and or neck are are broken beyond repair.
Okay. Well, I am spending one more mote on step 3, and also going to use the halo. So the halo around me is going to basically spin and cross the entire edge of the blade as I push my sword up and then pull with my right hand, and then pull the diaclave down with my left hand and bring it down, and that will basically once again double 9s on this attack roll.
Nice.
And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus an extra damage. Oh, I need to do an extra die, actually. Sorry.
Oh, and do forgive me. 7s are what you're looking for. Not
7s?
Yep.
Oh, I got a lot more successes last time then, but that's okay. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. 12 successes here with one more die. That's actually 14 successes, and then 2 more damage from my weapon.
Love it. Love it.
For the total of 16 damage.
Excellent. That is significantly more than their soak. As you bring the sword down, the arm shatters. The dragon blood screams in agony. But unfortunately for him, that scream is cut off, ending in a gurgle as you slice his throat to the point where, like, you feel your blade just sort of hitch for a second as it, like, bounces off a vertebrae. First blood is officially drawn as he drops dead at your feet.
Good.
His companion that's standing next to you cries out, "No!" As the one who is hanging from the rooftop also lets out a shout, more guttural, less official syllables involved. And that will be an end to your turn, Vulcan. Who would you like to pass it along to?
I will give it to Taurea.
Excellent.
And I also my anima also spiked by 4, so I am at 5 now from that one turn.
Nice. Love it. And that brings your anima up to. Does that bring you to the next level of anima?
I'm not sure. I don't remember,
Double check.
unfortunately.
So your anima is considered active.
It's 5. Yeah, 5 or all more. I would say because I am wood that the ground kind of starts erupting with vines and branches and roots that kind of crack the floor.
Wonderful. And do keep in mind you can spend 1 anima in step 2 to add your essence to defense against a single attack.
Yeah.
All right. Telrea, it is your action. As this sort of swell of power has gone through you, you see, oddly enough, almost as if some sort of unseen mystical hand is at play. You see a streak of jade start working its way up the tree that you've created because you had planted your tree in the ground. The streak of jade shoots up from the roots and basically encases your existing bow in jade, activating its artifact property and turning it into a magical item. This is not normal. This definitely strikes you as being an unusual, as if some sort of divine force is lending its aid to your cause. What would you like to do?
So I'm currently engaged with the dangly guy, right? I'm like kind of across the rooftops from him,
That is correct.
and I'm animating like crazy.
Your anima
And
is quite crazy.
I would like to just, I guess, build some withering attacks on him.
All right.
Much else I can do at the moment?
Sure. As your anima is your anima at 9 or 10 right now?
10.
Okay. So just keep in mind, you may roll an attack twice on step 3 and choose to keep the better result. Now I believe you had a charm activated last time that allowed you to attack twice, but that
Yeah, I
is
have my revolving bow.
you have to do you have to activate that each turn, or is that active for the scene once you turn it on? You said it's revolving bow discipline. Let's see.
Yeah.
Nope, you spend them on step 1. So yeah. You have to turn it on every turn if you so choose. But remember, your pool of motes did just fill back up.
Yeah. All right, I will activate it again.
Rock and roll. So once again, we go to our steps. Step 1, you are basically riddling this poor sucker who's hanging from a rooftop with arrows. I feel that that's worth 2 stunt dice. So you may have 2 stunt dice. And you said these are going to be both withering attacks. You do have, because you're making a second attack, I would give you the option of going withering, then decisive if you wanted to. But you would have to take that risk now. Do you have any power built up at all at this point?
Yes, I have 4 actually.
So you could go withering and then decisive if you want to wager the 4 power plus whatever you build out of that decisive attack. Or out of
Yeah.
that withering attack, I should say. All right. In that case, then go ahead and give me your first ranged combat. Are you going to activate any excellencies on this step?
Yes, I have my ranged excellency.
All right. So
Oh.
your anima can't go above 10, but if it could, it would. As you, as you just start spending, and as Telrea is like drawing back her bow, like you all can see like waves of of like water like splashing off of her. It's taking off like chunks of building sides. It's not. Telrea's clearly did not come to play today. So then go ahead and roll your ranged combat ×2 plus the attribute you'd like to pair that with. And then the automatic success is equal to the accuracy of your weapon. I'm just checking to see how being prone affects that.
So I add the accuracy as well.
Yeah, to the successes, not to the dice. So those are
Okay.
just automatic. Oh God.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5.
If you have the opportunity to become not prone, in essence, you should take it because being prone reduces their defense by 2. So you got 5 successes.
Yeah.
So effectively, that will absolutely hit them, and you will generate an additional 3 power.
Nice.
Wow.
So then you can make your second attack now. And this one is going to be decisive. You already had 4 power, so you can wager up to 7 power on it. And because you didn't use the revolving bow discipline last turn, you can absolutely roll twice and take the better result.
Nice. Okay, so what does it mean to wager the power?
So basically, you have, as you build up the power, you want to make sure you're wagering enough power to overcome their hardness. In this case,
So do I add it?
You don't add it. You say, I'm going to wager X amount of power.
Okay.
Right? So you've been fighting them long enough to know that right now they're at hardness 4. So if you can wager 4 or more power. The way that wagering works is if the attack is successful, you remove the amount of power that you. Either way, you remove the amount of power that you waged. If the attack is successful, that becomes extra dice for damage. Follow what I'm saying? The amount of power that you wagered becomes damage dice in addition to the other damage dice. So if you wanted to wager all the power, you absolutely can, but you could also just you have the knowledge that you're facing a hardness of 4, so you could play it safe and be like, I'm just going to wager the 4 power. So you'd hang on to some for next turn. That is up to you.
I'll wager all of it.
Nice.
And wow. That's a 10. Wait, 12
12 successes.
successes. Yeah.
Excellent.
I rolled really good.
Do you want to try to roll again to see if you can do better with your because you can roll twice with the revolving bow?
Might as well. 1, 2,
Sure,
3,
why
4,
not?
5,
Give it a
6,
shot.
7. Just 7 that time, so I'll take the 10.
We'll take the 12, yeah.
12.
So with 12 successes, you would then roll the damage. So you get those, this is 12. So it's 10 dice there. And those are just from your actual combat roll. It didn't include from the power, or did that include from the power?
That did not include the power.
All right, so excellent. So you have 10 successes, so 10 dice plus whatever power you wager, so 7, right? So you have 17 dice to roll. Plus you have the automatic damage of your bow. So whatever the damage rating is your bow, that's automatic successes. So you don't need to roll those.
All right. 2, 3, 4, 6.
Wonderful. So as you let go of this flurry of arrows, rage tidal waves rolling off of you at this point. One goes into his temple, one goes into his side, and one goes into his knee. And he just kind of limply lets go and falls to the ground. As he lands in front of Maris, you look down and see the arrows like basically get pushed through the other side of his body by the force of his impact.
Cool.
Where would you like to hand the focus? All right.
I will give it to Maris.
Excellent.
Fantastic. So I've been refreshing my mind about what I've got committed in terms of moats. So
Sure.
there's a storm brewing. So the enemy battle group and I guess solo member of House Pelops now have penalties. I think it's like -3 for the battle group and -2 for the
Individuals, yeah.
individuals. I also have my martial art active, so I've got heightened defense and soak. Dead guy at my feet. I see that Telrea and Volcan have just kind of gone all out on their respective targets.
Yes. And you do also feel that swelling. And in fact, for you, because I believe you're the only one here that's got a high sagacity, correct?
Yeah, I'm at sagacity 5.
Why don't you go ahead and give me a sagacity roll? Pair that with whichever attribute you feel is most pertinent for like quick thinking.
Probably finesse, which is my worst one, but it just seems the best to me. Which is good actually, because I've lost one of my dice, which is a problem in Exalted.
That is a problem. To put a hex on the whole damn thing.
One less dice is a reroll right there. It's like an entire.
We're still looking at 6 successes.
Awesome. Yeah. Not only do you feel this swell of power, but you note like the jade dancing up the tree, and it occurs to you that like you're certain you're feeling the hand of some sort of divinity at play.
Mhm.
You've probably heard at least rumors of aspects of the celestial bureaucracy aimed at specifically maintaining the order of the righteous order of the dragon bloods at the top of the hierarchy of things. So you can only assume that heaven is on your side, and this is clear communication of that.
In that case, I'm also Animus 6, so I've got the whole non-dragon blooded within close range. And if the enemy battle group, or my battle group, or my bear within close range of me.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe the bear and the jaguar are probably going to move back to a safe distance now that anima banners are like literally ripping things apart.
Yeah, that seems.
Given they're both your familiars, I'm pretty sure they're also familiar with the fact that you guys might damage them.
Like, we're here for the boss till it's time we can't be here for the boss.
In which case, as I'm still more of a debuff and support build, even with recent purchases, I'm going to grasp onto that fading kind of touch of the divine connecting the circle and just shunt 2 power each to Volcan and Telraya.
Excellent.
For my 4 power bank.
Wonderful. And is
Good,
that
thank you.
Is that the sum of your activity?
I don't believe I can flurry that. Sorry, I was in the right place in my PDF and then my computer.
That's okay. Tech happens.
Shut down.
I would remind you and our audience at home, tech happens, and we roll with those punches.
I think I might have caught a cable when I was just fidgeting slightly.
That'll
Pull
happen.
the loose connection out. combat action. So yeah. Power exchange, maybe Florid. Oh, okay, cool. In which case, yeah, I'll how healthy is the enemy battle group looking?
Oh, not great. A good solid hit might
Cool.
be just about might take them off the playing field.
So I don't have any way of doing a hit, but I seem to recall that there was something about repeatedly attacking the same target. There we are. Concentrated attacks. Reduces hardness. Yeah, so I can make a withering attack to build my own power and also make it easy for my war group to attack, if I'm recalling it, if I remember how this works properly.
Let's see it. What are you using for the withering attack?
I have a fighting chain.
Wonderful.
So I will dash forwards after sending that power out to my allies, just whipping the chain around for a swift, probably largely ineffectual blow, but
And you are
nonetheless.
what kind of aspect? I'm sorry.
I'm in an air aspect.
Okay, excellent.
Although, yeah, well, I haven't said I'm in wood because I have access to the wood aura through wood dragon style.
Okay.
I think it is, but I'm in air for now.
But you are currently operating in the air aspect.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe is it.
You could absolutely, if you wanted to, with that banner, just giving you the option, because you can leap at such great distances, you could effectively Air Jordan your way over the enemy battle group so that you and Vulcan are sandwiching them.
Oh yeah, that works for me. If that works for Vulcan.
Yeah.
Vulcan. I assume it also puts me not in close range of my own battle group.
That is correct.
The next turn.
Yeah.
Is it a 3-die penalty for flurries?
3-die penalty for flurrying, yeah.
Sure. In which case, we will roll maths. Why am I doing this? 6 dice. There we go.
All right.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the eruption that I created with my sword is actually on the enemy battle group, right? Or was it somewhere else?
Yes. What effect did that apply to them?
It is basically, from what I remember, let me double check the notes. It is an eruption point that is an environmental hazard with the stats of a burning building.
Okay. Thank you.
As one does with a sword.
But you absolutely clear that though. Like, and it's funny too, because from y'all's perspective, like you both can see Maris like drop down, and again, to contextualize this, this is all happening within the blowing winds and waters of a tsunami, right? So Maris like drops down, goes like into like a 3-point stance. And like if you've ever seen Smallville, whenever they would show Clark fly, like there's these like waves of air that go up through the water, like splitting it almost. And then it's almost as if Maris surfs over, like the water like parts. And Maris flies over the battle group, spinning in midair, probably giving the finger with one hand and hitting with the chain with the other. So go ahead and make your close combat roll. Are you applying any excellencies or anything like that?
I was thinking about it, but it's
Listen,
sure.
there is no such thing as overkill in Exalted.
That's true. I've got. I mean, I have the both. Yeah, I have the moats for it. Like, why wouldn't I?
And don't forget to just move those moats right up over into your anima too, because
Is it? It's TN7.
Yep.
Cool.
Meanwhile, the Peter Pan songs going on. He can fly, he can fly, he can fly.
So with my +1 accuracy, that is 8 successes.
Wonderful. So you build a total of looks like
5 power.
I believe that is the case. Let's see. 6 power, because they are currently contending with all manner of um, penalties right now.
Fantastic.
So now you may choose to retain that power, or I am totally fine with switching up the order of operations so that you would divide that power as well.
Yes, if you're happy with me doing that, then I'll send another 2 each to Volcan and Tellaraya and retain 2 for myself.
Absolutely. Cool
Actually, you
with
know
that.
what? It maxes out at 10, doesn't it?
It does max out at 10.
That last 2 goes to my battle group to max out their power because it's funny.
Wonderful. Would you like to then give the initiative to your battle group and have them just sort
I
of...
very much would, yes.
Wonderful. Go ahead and make the attack for your. I assume they're making a decisive attack.
Yeah, sorry, I've got so many NPCs in this Word
You
doc
are
that I have to
you are a
scroll
bit
through.
of a summoner, I guess one might say.
There we go. Right, 9 dice. Yes, they're just wagering all 10 because
Wonderful.
at this point, why not? Just checking weapon tags. They've got swords, I believe. I can't remember what I said they were using because they can have a choice of 2. I'm about to give them their sword profile for this.
Okay.
Cool. In which case, I'm going to lower their defense by 1, so I'll put in brackets 4 next to it, so I remember.
Okay.
But this it's a chopping attack that decreases the enemy battle group's hardness by 1.
Wonderful. Okay.
Oh boy, that's a real bad roll. 1 success.
Oh no. Was this were these actual soldiers or was this your was this
yeah,
an undead battle group?
No, they're champions. They
Okay.
rolled 9 dice, and I got 1 success.
Wonderful. Just want to make sure that we're dealing with the appropriate and have them also please have them make fortitude physique. I suppose it would probably be like a resisting damage roll.
They've got athletics as their primary, as another primary, if that works, or I could just roll a tertiary.
I would say probably be tertiary, yeah, if it's not. The difficulty equal to your essence plus 2.
Oh, that's good because I got exactly 4 successes.
All right, they take no damage from the area, but they also have no effect on the battle group. The enemy battle group effectively manages to somehow push off the incoming attack. And let me roll for them as well while we're on the subject.
They do have a success modifier of 3.
They do. Okay, well that changes
because of that drill.
That changes the landscape. They do get through. Go ahead and apply your power and roll your damage. This might be the end of the enemy forces.
Sorry, 1 second.
All good.
I need to see if I've made a note of something in my reference document or if it's something that I need to add to the reference document. How many damage dice is it? I got 4 successes.
4 successes?
Yes.
And that includes the power expenditures?
Oh, sorry, no. I wagered 10 power on that.
All right, so yeah, did you roll the extra 10 dice?
I have not yet done so. Sorry.
All good.
Yeah, that's much better. Why couldn't that have happened before? That's 7 with the extra power dice.
Wonderful. Your battle group lunges forward, sort of rushing through the enemy soldiers. The ones who don't get immediately overrun, start to turn and leave. The one remaining Pelops Dragon Blood sees which way the wind is blowing, and attempts to escape as well. Basically, lets off a leap, headed for a rooftop as far away as possible from the rest of you. Are any of you going to attempt to impede these escapes?
I'm going to see if I have anything that can.
Okay.
Don't think of bears making that jump somehow.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'll send the cat.
Are you going to
Get him.
send the cat after him?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I assume I can probably shoot him from here as well.
You could try to take some pot shots as they run, if you'd like.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you were going to try to do, Vulcan? Try to take a swipe as they run, or anything along those lines, or are you going to just try to let them go?
I don't think I can do anything. Depending on the direction that they run from, if they jump out of the way, I think they jump out of the way. I wouldn't be able to catch them.
All right.
Throw your sword at him.
It's really freaking heavy.
I will let you take a shot on their way out. Is this going to be? Do you have enough power to risk for a decisive attack right now?
I have 2.
That probably
Might
won't.
help.
That won't get through their hardness.
Yeah.
So you could try to do a withering attack, but by the time unless you have something that extends your range, by the time you would get around for a decisive attack, they'll be gone.
Yeah, not really. I mean, my cat could try to do
Sure.
a withering and give the power to me.
Let's give that a shot. Yeah, your cat still has activity, so why don't you go ahead and have the cat take a swipe and see if they can. They're going to be -3 dice from their primary pool because they are going to be also donating power as part of a flurry, right?
Yes. So their primary pool is 9. Walk me through this real quick.
So their primary pool is normally a 9, so you would remove 3 dice from that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you'd roll at target number 7.
Okay. One.
All right, what's the does the and there's no like actual like weapon attached to that would have like a base damage. So yeah, it would basically just gain 1 power that they would then be able to hand to you. That would bring your power up to 3. Still not quite enough to match their toughness of 4.
Oh well.
You tried though. You
Yeah.
certainly can send some goodbye arrows on the way though. Make sure they don't forget you.
Yeah.
And that brings
I'll
us.
attach a note to one of them and be like, "This isn't over."
I'm glad that's
Wonderful.
reoccurring.
With that, the combat ends. You all regain a mote of essence, and your animas all reduced by 1, which doesn't make things necessarily calm down in the area. It's a problem. People are rushing away and hiding. Your battle groups are backing up. Your pets are backing up.
I need to calm down.
You can see, unfortunately, at this point, as the combat wanes, looking down toward the docks, you can see there are other animas. Probably at a quick count, probably 15 other animas that are at the level that you all are rocking at right now. Like there's a big bad fight going on down that way.
Yeah.
I look at it, kind of sigh tiredly, because I'm a scholar. This isn't my wheelhouse in any way, shape, or form. Shall we?
That's not preparation. That's an ongoing combat. We're just assisting then. and I will start walking that direction as well, or headed that direction. I wouldn't say walking.
All right, as you're making your way that way, the others are. Is everybody going to uproot your tree and gather your battle group and start making your way that way as well?
Yeah, let's help him out. I'll
Right.
try not to destroy all the buildings on my way there.
As you're heading through, you're greeted by a handful of the pirates that you brought along with you. They're clearly ragged from battle and sort of approaching you.
Yes.
They hold their hands out and, signify that they're friendly. And they say, the docks are, I don't know if I want to use the term lost cause, but docks aren't in great shape. I really think we ought to head to the governor and regroup.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Any objection? All right.
None of that's what you think.
They, on the way back to the governor's, they start recounting, rough head counts. They're assuming there's probably about 200 to 300 casualties in the docks between warriors and like soldiers and bystanders. Basically, about half of the ships that are actually in the docks have been ruined, and most of the docks themselves have been destroyed. There's thousands of jade worth of, if not hundreds of thousands of jade worth of damage to the area. The place is intensely fucked up. And on that bright, shiny note, let's go ahead and take a quick bio break. So, as you are hearing the tale of the damage and destruction, we will take a moment to go handle our biological and technological needs. If you're watching this live, just hang out. Maybe while you're waiting, you can head over and back Steam Wars on Backer Kid. I'll throw the link to that in the chat. And if you're watching this in replay, hit fast forward to see our pretty faces again. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. We are back with Exalted Essence, the Wild Hunters. Just before our break, the team had managed to fight off the enemy Dragon Bloods and rout their battle group. But as they pressed forth toward the very clear pitched battle on the docks, they encountered some of their pirate allies who basically determined the docks were a lost cause and suggested everyone regroup back at the governor's estate, which now you have done. The return journey pretty easy for you. You kind of cleared out all the obstacles between where you had been and where the governor's manse was. So you're able to make your way back. Before leaving the battlefield, you're able to collect any new items that you might have acquired, and I believe Vulcan might have found something laying on the corpse of one of the dragon bloods. Is that correct? One of the Pelip's dragon bloods.
Yes, I mean, I'm just gonna describe it right now because I think on the old man Danny Rand with the fists and whatnot, I would say, um, was his hands bandaged or were at
I would say he
all
probably had wraps. Yeah.
the wraps? Um, I would say in one of the wraps there's like a glowing kind of black, uh, almost like a black glow to one of the wraps, and I got curious, and then I kind of unwrapped it a little bit, and I do see uh a stone that's not necessarily done anything during the fight, and I go and collect it. And yeah, that'll be the life strain stone. If
Excellent.
that is okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Also, you all can very clearly see and note Telrea's newly jade encrusted bow. Um, you're free to discuss that on the way back to the mansion or not. Up to you.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll, be like, look, guys, there was some jade coming out of the ground during that battle. I don't know if you guys noticed, but look what it did to my bow. Seems somebody in the heavens is approving of us. Wahaha.
something like that. It's nice. It's great. We'll need everything we can get, just
Yeah.
like this. And then I kind of like hold out the stone.
Mhm.
Abyssal in nature, it seems, but I think I can make use of it.
There's
What we should
an avarice look at the stone, but I resist the urge.
should we show it to the governor?
No, I think I'll make use of it right now, trying to get everything settled. Maris, what do you make of all that? I I felt something, but I don't. You're more adept at feeling whatever this is, understanding at least.
So out of character, this is me going from memory about kind of how Exalted Law works. So Travis, correct me if I'm wrong with this. Uh, Back in character, when the Solars were cast down as the anathema they are, the celestial bureaucracy sided with us as dragon blooded, terrestrial, exalted. And there is a lot of power and influence bound up in maintaining that alliance, and us as dragon blooded remaining dominant in creation. And if this raid is too small a word, as is sortie, if this incursion is a precursor to something much greater, something that upsets that balance, I can imagine that the gods and their chosen would want to do everything they could to maintain the equilibrium.
So
And
they
if
figure
that
they're the
is
peacekeepers.
Yes, and if that is granting us with a greater ability to defend ourselves and the status quo, then that is what they choose to do.
Sounds dangerous. We cannot let this go to our heads where we have to remain vigilant. We lost the dogs. That means our enemy is still, unfortunately, they have a foothold.
Yes, and 2 demons.
Right, I forgot about those.
I think those
Let-
2 got away.
Out of the group that you fought, yeah, 2 got
Yeah.
away.
So at least 2 demons.
Yeah,
This
not good.
situation is not good.
No, we're gonna have to figure something out. And unfortunately, right now I've got a swinging of the sword on the mind, so I'm probably gonna be pretty useless on that front. Let's head.
This
Let's see what they could provide, what insight they could provide back at the governor's.
By the time you reach the manse, your animas have calmed back down. We'll say you can reduce them by 6.
think that puts me at 0.
You're greeted and taken into Nemoya's war room, where there are a few, not only of her soldiers, but some more of the pirates, including Seafoam, and a couple of the 2 messengers from your battle group, Maris. As you're walking in, Nemoya turns to you and says, "I've just been briefed on our situation with the dogs. It seems that not only have Pelops managed to entrench themselves there, but they managed to sink 15 Venif ships that had come to attempt to claim the dogs. I fear that for the moment, the island is effectively lost. We have control of this half of the island. We have control of some of the residential areas, and we are trying to funnel in survivors here. I'm also sending some of my finest negotiators to speak with some of the local gangs because ultimately they will manage, they will, I believe, tip the balance of power in the city proper. Whoever the most gangs side with is likely to win. Having said that, we are in grave distress. As long as Pelops holds our docks, all of the realm's holdings in the west are in danger. The way I see it, we have 3 areas that require attention. Now, your group has been helpful beyond duty. And as loath as I am to ask you for more favors, I could really use your assistance. So it's a matter of where you think your forces and your efforts would be best spent. A few options have been brought up by the advisors. The first is to stand here and fight for as much ground as we can hold, as much ground as we can take back. I expect that will be going on regardless of what your group chooses to do. The second option is to make for the Blessed Isle, to entreat with the deliberative and ask for as much aid as we can, as well as sanctions against House Pelops for their uprising. It's going to be a journey that's going to take time and is going to be fraught with, no doubt, political dangers as well as practical and physical ones. The third is to attempt to gather as many allies as we can who are out here in the West already. There are some who already owe us loyalty or fealty. The Rose Black has forces in the Southwest right now. If they can be directed here, they would be an immense help. There are also those who we've managed to maintain a fragile peace with, who we may ask for aid, though the costs of that aid may be a bit steeper than we're prepared to pay. Which is to say, we could send an envoy to the Skullstone Archipelago and ask for the help of the Death Lords and Abyssals there.
I noticeably pale. I mean, I'm pale anyway, but I noticeably pale when that option is raised.
She says, I'm not particularly fond of the idea either, but we may be in a position where we have no choice.
It sits ill with me to abandon allies, and I meet the governor's eyes to make sure that she knows that I consider her an ally, at least for now, in their time of need. And any journey to the Blessed Isle and petition for help and sanctions, any resolution for that will come too late.
I agree. It would be weeks of sailing to reach the Blessed Isle, even with the aid of charms. I think their help will come too late, and frankly, I have grave concerns about our ability to reach the Rose Black, because as well we know her forces are in the Southwest, so does Pelops. I'm certain that there will be no end of obstacle between our forces and them. The cleanest route is to the Skullstone, but I certainly understand why we would have misgivings about that.
Vulcan and Telraya would probably pick up on this, having spent so much time, particularly like on board ship with Maris, to pick up on his tells. He's hiding something about the Skullstone. He's just not meeting anyone's eyes, shuffling awkwardly. All of the tells that he's not being completely forthright about something.
She says, I could use your aid in any of those fields. And I do also wish to make clear you are compelled to do none of it. Not by your house loyalty, certainly not by any authority of mine. I am simply asking you for your aid in the arena you feel you can best add it. If you need some time to discuss that, you may take the foyer. You may take the sun porch, whichever of those you prefer. They're both private areas. You may discuss what you need to discuss, but we need to continue working here in the war room.
Let's spend some time to discuss.
She turns back to the others and they start looking at the various maps they have out and discussing battle plans.
Insert Batman. Do 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 do.
Right. You step out. Are you going to the enclosed foyer or out to the sun porch?
Whichever will probably have like lesser people being able to hear what we're saying.
The sun porch, you have a better view of whether or not you're being listened to.
Yeah, then if that's the case, the sun porch for that.
Yeah.
And immediately when I notice that there's nobody else, I'll just kind of like lightly. I'm not one for treaties with any other kinds, but it feels like there is something else with the Skullstone that we need to avoid, potentially.
Is there like a railing
Yeah,
around the
absolutely.
porch? I lean on it and my knuckles go white as I'm clenching it that tightly to just reassure myself. I don't turn to face to Orion Vulcan. This is all kind of over my shoulder. I and again, once the call for duty is gone, it's almost like the cold formalities washed away by just the raw inexperience of, again, a scholar thrust into a war. I don't know how fruitful any negotiations with the Death Lords would be if my presence were known.
Something to do with your particular inclinations, I would say.
I know, well, in a manner of speaking, I went there to learn more of my art, and they were gracious hosts, and kind of just a shiver, as of like a remembered fear, passes over my body. I don't know how welcome I would be, and I don't know if that would impact any alliances to be made. It may simply increase the cost of payment, but it may also result in refusal.
I kind of lean back on the railing next to Maris with like kind of like my elbows down on the railing, just looking at him a little bit. And just, all right, then that goes out the window. I mostly prefer talking with my sword, my Diaclave, anyways. But it doesn't seem like the three of us would be enough to deal with whatever threat House Tepet House Pelops has over the dogs. We're going to need allies regardless.
I take a deep, steadying breath, and set my shoulders, and that cold duty reasserts itself. These are just meaningless, potentially meaningless concerns. We have a duty. I have a duty to restore the name of my house. Abandoning a potential route of salvation is counter to that duty.
And I'm not saying to abandon anything. I'm saying that the three of us would be suited for something else. If we're not suited for liaison to the Skullstone, then we're not suited for that. That doesn't necessarily mean we wouldn't be able to have someone else help with negotiations. Similarly, asking for aid doesn't seem like what three battle-hardened warriors should be doing if there is a battle that is already waging right now. So in that vein, what can we do? How can we bolster our troops here? And how can we improve our situation?
just allow the like lambent, violent glow of necromancy to play around my fingers momentarily. There is an obvious and immediate answer to how to bolster our forces, and it grows with every passing moment.
Right, there's that, but we'll do well against troops. Oh, they're dragon-blooded, though.
And the demons. Get the demons they brought.
We'll just need a little bit of rest. I just need a little bit of rest. We can take care of them. Sooner or later. I didn't ask. I was in the middle of it. I didn't actually check. Maris, Telrea, how are you? Did you get hurt? Bruised? At all?
I'm completely unharmed visibly. So I just kind of shrug. I think the only amount of damage I've taken so far is the fight with the demons.
I think so.
I took like one injury level.
Yeah, you got a little bruised, but I'm all right.
Right, well, then I believe I need to get patched up a little bit. Besides that, we should be good to go again.
You would stay here.
I would stay here.
What was that second option she gave us that didn't have to do with?
Oh, return to the Blessed Isle.
But it would take too long.
Right. So
Take
your
weeks to
options,
travel.
basically, the things that are on the table are head to the Blessed Isle, which would take weeks. Head to the Skullstone Archipelago to try to deal with the Abyssals and the Death Lords, which would be the shortest trek you would have, but you're not quite sure what sort of political opposition you'd be walking into. And, you also have the personal, do we want to deal with what technically amounts to anathema at this point? The third option was make for the southwest, try to get past any blockades or patrols to try to get to the Rose Blacks forces and ask them for help. And then the last option being staying on Wujan and bolstering the forces there until someone else can go get help.
Out of character, I'm absolutely down for going to the Skullstone Archipelago because that's drama, baby.
Yeah.
But obviously, in character, I can't say that.
The other
for sure.
thing, I guess, to just bear in mind is chances are good that the governor will try to send someone on all those errands, regardless of whether or not it is you. So it's kind of a matter of where do you want your experience of this to go? Because all these things will happen. They will send a group to the Blessed Isle. Whether or not they make it to the Blessed Isle, let alone back before this whole situation is resolved, it kind of depends on y'all's actions to a degree. But
Translation, meaning the Skullstone drama will come to us if we do not go to that.
Well, it just matters on how well that team fares. What might wind up coming back to you is like a single little buoy with like a couple of diplomats' heads and a note.
The same people who left returned. They're just changed.
Yeah.
As I said, we were bonded on a wild hunt. We've been fighters and warriors. And regardless of how short that was, look at how much ground they took. If we were not here, if we weren't on any of these errands, I don't even think that this estate would last a couple more days.
Good point.
I don't know, it's looking out over. Are we facing the ocean or the smoke blackened
You'd be
horizon?
facing the ocean on the sun porch. Yeah, you're facing the direction you're looking. It's almost like you could pretend like there's not even anything terrible happening.
Oh, it's like the actual like ostrich, you know, like oh
Mhm.
yeah, no, it's fine.
Just stay here for the rest of time.
You just see a beautiful sunset where you're looking right now.
So we buy time.
We buy time for the scouts, for the
Great
liaisons.
skeletons. We got a lot of dead people to work with.
That's the one
Roast.
thing about necromancy. It always makes more of itself.
That's grim. I'm gonna get some rest.
Wonderful. You going to communicate this then with the with Nemoya? You going to?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I will. I don't know if they're going to go, but I am literally exit stage right as soon as he mentions more necromancy stuff. Just kind of giving me the ick. I'm just gonna walk away back into the war room.
You're the one with the abyssal hearthstone.
Yeah, I am, but you know, that's probably why it adds to the ick, because it's something, you know, there's shivers down into whatever I'm holding already. I'm going down to Nemoya and just go, I believe we're going to stay. I don't think our strengths are necessarily used well as envoys to any of your expeditions. But we can hold them off as long as we can.
Appreciated. Seafoam says, in that case, if you all permit, as I did pledge my service to you, I think it might be best if I can take my fastest ship and a few of my bravest sailors and try to make our way to the Rose Black.
That would be great.
We might be able to. We can probably. I'm somewhat confident we can avoid any Pelops patrols. Hopefully.
Would you care for some of my men?
If you can spare them. Though actually, now that I think about it, maybe it's best if we take a very, very small crew.
Not to stereotype or anything, but I think the expertise is on your side.
Yeah, I just have a group of yours, if you can maintain a group of yours at the ready to either come follow us, either if this place falls, or if we don't return, we'll say in 20 days.
I nod and write out an order to be handed off to the appropriate officer.
She nods and says, I'll take a small group in our fastest ship and hope for the best. Nemoya says, I can send if you are still willing to spare some of your troops, Maris. I can send an envoy to the Skullstone. Perhaps
They are at your disposal.
Perhaps I can have Beryl do the negotiations, since you're going to be staying here.
I nod. Make a mental note to tell Beryl to not mention me in the slightest.
Right on. What are your virtues and intimacies, by the way, Maris?
My virtues are wonder and compassion. My intimacies, my major one is strive to learn new skills, which I'm learning a whole host of combat skills right now.
That is
so that's
true.
cool. And actually, one of my minor intimacies is I will never return to the Spellstone Archipelago. So I didn't want to mention that because I didn't want to, bias anything.
That's awesome.
There's also I will always try to defend my siblings, but they aren't here, so that one's
Right.
less
Yeah,
applicable
no,
right
you're
now. But
100% cool with this with this turn of events. You're like, yep, sounds good. Best of luck
Yep.
to you.
Oh
Sure.
no, I guess we got going to
Wonderful. Is there anything that Telrea has to add to the proceedings, or questions, or concerns, or anything that Telrea wants to do before you all sort of split up and go into resting?
Not really. I guess I'll just ponder my new bow, study it.
Wonderful. And you do so. It really does seem as though it has been handed down to you from on high. Let's see. Just checking a couple things.
If it's okay with you, Travis, I'm going to reduce my legion to a size 4 battle group and just send half of it to help.
Okay, excellent. Are you sending them with Barrel?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's 500 soldiers, or up to 500 soldiers.
That will come in handy. All right. So you all heal your damage. You may reduce your animals back down to 0. You are able to rest. As the sun rises the next day, the reports start coming in. The forces loyal to Nemoya have fallen back. Right now, the efforts are primarily on holding the perimeter. They basically have divided the island almost completely in half. The half near the docks is under the control of Pelops, as are the waters immediately surrounding that. Half the island you're on, fairly firmly under Nemoya's control. There are both ships that are of Cessus, but also ships that are of Venif. Basically setting up sort of like a water blockade around your side of the island, so Pelops forces can't get around back and launch an attack from there. But the docks themselves are pretty well compromised. And there's very little that can be done right now to prevent more ships from joining without risking the security of your half of the island. By the time the sun has risen, both groups have taken off. Seafoam and her group making haste to try to get a hold of the Rose Black and her forces, while Beryl makes his way to the Skullstone. What would you like to do as you wake the next morning?
I will kind of spend some time, I think, fiddling around with the Hearthstone, around with the artifact, and seeing how it fits with my Diaclave.
Sure. And which Hearthstone was it that you had selected? Forgive me.
The Life Drain Stone. It's a lesser one.
Excellent. So you do have a space to set that within your weapon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you eventually, in sort of experimenting with it and connecting it, you do place it within the weapon.
I think. Oh,
Sir, go ahead.
I wanna flavor it because the diclave, if I to describe it one more time, is a giant carved jade blade that's almost the size of me, with almost with different channels of like coiled vines that are kind of around it. And as I kind of look around through it and notice that there are two kind of openings in the wood on either side. Yeah, I'm just gonna flavor that as the fact that there are two slots to for hearthstones on this weapon. That one of the vines just kind of on the side of it opens up and just kind of envelops the stone in within the vine, and there's just now a black glow on one side of my diclave.
Wonderful. As that sets into place and that effect washes over the diclave, for the briefest of moments you hear a cacophony of whispers. You can't quite make out what they're saying. It's as if spirits of the damned are looking on and gossiping as you take on this power. Just for a moment. And then the moment passes. What would you like to do once you're done embedding the stone?
Kind of hearing that, I'll just kind of think to myself and mutter just a cycle of life and death, I suppose. And looking on, the irony of encasing this death stone in like an ever growing root as I walk on to find my companions.
Wonderful. When Telrea awakes, you said you've been examining your bow, correct?
Mm.
Is there anything in particular that you are hoping to glean from it? Or are you just sort of looking at up and down? Is there something you're seeking?
Um, I'd like to know like where the celestial power comes from. Like, is there like a certain type that a certain god or something likes to imprint on its mark on something? Like who did this?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and give me, let's do a sagacity and um, let's pair that with, I would say probably fortitude. You're really trying to take the time to study this. So let's do a fortitude sagacity roll.
Uh, one success.
Okay. Um, you're kind of at a just impasse. You're like, this is so beyond my experience. This is so strange. Like, you've heard tales of heaven becoming directly involved. It's not particularly unusual for heaven to become directly involved with the activities of Exalted, but you've never directly experienced it. And almost more frustratingly so, you are under the impression that there's some aspect of this, there's some answer to your question, some piece of knowledge that is sitting on the tip of your tongue, hanging out in the periphery of your vision, just beyond your reach. And the more you try to focus on it, the more frustratingly obfuscated it becomes. As if something is actively trying to keep that truth out of your perception.
At some point, I'd like to seek counsel on this from somebody that might know more, but now is probably not the time.
Well, I mean, as you are, joining the others, I'm assuming for a morning meal, it does occur to you that Maris might have some insight into that.
All right. I
But-
will bring it up casually while I cut into my eggs and bacon.
Excellent. And is Maris doing anything prior to arriving at the breakfast table?
Yeah, I've been examining. So I've not used it yet, but I do have a fire wand, which, for the audience's benefit, is a rifle-shaped flamethrower.
Indeed, it is.
And I've been just contemplating it and thinking, like mentally running through the forms and kata of my martial arts style, and trying to use what I know of. I mean, yes, I'm a necromancer, not a sorcerer, but try to use what I know of the arcane arts to figure out if I can transmute the abilities of this fire wand into a wooden staff. Basically, I'm starting the long road to making my own artifact.
Okay.
Just so I can use the wooden weapons that I need to for my martial art, but still have the option of the fire wand if I need it. So I'm just lost in thought. Probably turn up to breakfast later than everyone else, and kind of appear preoccupied.
Sure. So yeah, you Vulcan and Telray, you're sitting down, sort of getting some food in you. A couple minutes later, Maris comes kind of wandering in. Definitely not present. And grabs some food, almost on autopilot, and sits down.
Good sleep?
Oh yes, sorry. Good morning. Good morning, and like good morning to anyone nearby. Sorry, I just recent events have knocked my view of what my life will be askew slightly, and I'm catching up with what the future could possibly hold and trying to anticipate that.
Right.
And then I, for flavor, just use my arsenal summoning gesture to produce my fighting chain from the air. I don't think this is really going to cut it for much longer. So I'm trying to think how I can better support the two of you in the field should we find ourselves without a gesture to the regiment around us assistance.
I mean, I would say I'm in a similar boat. I believe when we were formed, when our wild hunt was formed, the three of us were essentially paired, thinking that we needed to deal with threats, with wild threats, not necessarily go back into war. If we are in a large battlefield and I get lost within it, I cannot support the two of you as I have in the past.
Yes, I've had some ideas around that. And have either of you been tested for any kind of magical aptitude?
I have. I have none.
Fantastic. Back to the drawing board with that idea then.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Because I envisaged, apologies to the Scarred Lands fans and watching, I envisaged a pair of spells, one to release a flare of radiance, channeled essence into the sky, and another to bind itself to that, transporting the caster from one place to the flare, the source of the flare. But if you have no aptitude, you can learn. Anyone can learn and be initiated. It is a matter of time, which I fear is running short.
That's a
I
good
have
idea.
2 points in sagacity. I'm a little bit trained.
Something I can think about.
If
I
something,
cannot.
if it works for the two of you, being able to be at least somewhat safe or at least mobile within the battlefield, I'd say we'd consider it.
Yeah.
And, well, a gesture to Telraya. You were very visible yesterday. I warrant that you could be seen for quite some distance. I imagine that such a spell, were it to be written and refined, would perhaps be empowered by such a display.
Ish.
I believe at Anima 10, like you can be seen on the horizon.
Yes,
when you're
that is
iconic.
correct.
Yes.
I'd much prefer not to be seen, as you know. And I'm more of a stick to the shadows type, but I work with what I've got. Sometimes I can be seen from the horizon, and I guess we have to make the best of it.
Exaltation is both blessing and curse.
Mhm.
Here I am wondering whether or not that helped in any way alarm anybody out there of the fact that this is happening on this island.
We can only hope. However, I fear that anyone close enough to see. Sorry if my cat is picked up by my by the way. If anyone, I fear that anyone close enough to see would be either aware of the situation because the house Palaps aligned, or flee with so many anima banners flaring.
True.
My concerns go out to those trapped in the battlefield.
Well, regardless, I think we need to come up with a plan.
Yes.
And I think the first thing that the three of us can do is actually scout whether or not they are using any of their remaining blooded in groups similar to the one that we faced. We let one get away, so they are definitely able to tell all the rest of the dragon blooded that they have exactly what we do. Which means we no longer have the element of surprise, which doesn't really stop us in most ways. But they also know of our numbers. We'll be at a disadvantage regardless wherever they are. But out of character, you said 15 banners? Did you say
Yes.
15 banners
Yeah,
before?
you saw 15 banners.
I counted 15.
Presumably
We need to
more
find
in-
out how they roam.
Yeah. Should seek them out, hunt them down, take them out
This
stealthily.
this could work to our advantage, though. If they know we are here and they were not anticipating us to be here, we have a target on our backs that we can use to draw them where we want them.
Exactly.
We draw them away from their command ease.
I think if that's the case, I also have an idea. Is there a way, and it's not to belittle your talents in any way, but are you confident enough to be able to create a large enough force with your necromancy to be enough of a threat that they would need to pull more dragon-blooded away.
I give a laugh utterly devoid of humor and like it's almost as if it's utterly devoid of life itself. Given enough time, I can certainly do that. So mechanically, just so that we're all on the same page about how the spell works, as long as I have the power to do it, I can the will, sorry, to do it, which is just a roll to generate, like with power. As long as there are corpses within medium range of me, I can do it.
What if we could curate something like that? Create pockets of forces that they need to deal with, not necessarily on a large front, but enough to draw one or two dragon-blooded away each time. And from there, we can ambush them.
Yeah.
I nod. I feel with this new gift from above that. Sorry, 1 second. Cat-related issue.
No worries.
My necromantic arts may be empowered, maybe similarly empowered. Out of character, because we're now Essence 2, I can make the battle group a secondary merit.
Nice.
So it's bigger and has more health.
You also, because of your essence increase, you can also now use Princes of the Earth to get secondary merits.
Wow. Okay. I mean, ironic that is how the heavens deem us to be able to further serve their will. But I'm not complaining. A size that large, a group that large would definitely draw the attention of at least several dragon-blooded on their side. We only need to do this a few times, but if we're able to create skirmishes across the battlefield, we could potentially retake this ourselves if we play this smart.
With enough raw material to work with, I believe I can direct the forces individually if needed. So again, out of character, so we're on the same page. Because it's now a secondary, I can use it as a secondary merit now. It can be a size 3 group of champions, which are what they have, just a decent stat block. A size 4 or 5 group, which is up to 1,000 corpses, or 2 size 3 battle groups. They are dead and mindless. There are downsides to using the dead, but also while I'm not present, their attacks get a 3 dice bonus, and they automatically gain 1 power at the end of every round. Should they take damage or are successfully attacked, they may run away, but that's the price we pay for using the dead.
Okay. It's then if that's the case.
Also, no, they don't flee, they just take automatic damage on round checks.
Yeah, they just walk into the fight, basically. Like they walk into the danger, ignoring. They kind of do the opposite of what a route would normally be. It's like, we'll just walk into stuff and get chopped up. It's fine.
Yeah, and BD really.
Kind of helpful, actually.
Yeah, but as it may have strategic bearing, I wanted everyone to be on the same page about how the spell works. Yeah. My other spells are just damage dealing spells. I do have Death of Obsidian Butterflies because it's Exalted, and I'm a spellcaster, and I feel like I have to take that.
It's an amazing spell,
but it's also a very indiscriminate spell.
It is, yeah. It's kind of the thematic opposite of Flying Guillotine, which is a very, very, very precise spell.
I got
Yeah.
both.
Playing
One's
guillotine is a very special gift for one person that you want to address.
Yeah, adorn on their head. Yeah.
Yeah,
mhm.
whereas Death of Obsidian Butterflies is sort of speaking to the room.
Particularly as a necromancer where it ignores all cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
addressing the crowd, so to speak.
Well, yours
Uh,
is considered the flesh sloughing wave, right?
Yep,
Like, yeah.
it is.
You.
wow. Yeah.
Before you go trying to raise any armies, though, was Tilray going to bring up concerns about the bow at this
Yes.
breakfast? Excellent.
I'll say. By the way, Maris, I know you're probably really busy with all that. But do you mind taking a look at my bow and seeing if you can glean anything from its newly jadedness?
I will do what I can. However, my and it's the face of a scholar who is torn between ooh new shiny thing and admitting that they don't know much about the new shiny thing.
I'm
That kind
I'm
of
just oh sorry. I'm just like eating and then just like in the middle of it, I'll just like the bone jaded from one fight. And I'm just continue eating.
my knowledge tends more towards the necromantic arts for obvious reasons, but I will see what I can glean from it, certainly.
Yeah, you'll do better than I did, I'm sure.
Go ahead and make a fortitude sagacity roll, please.
I will spend my moat on my excellency.
Wonderful.
Nice.
So that's 15 dice to roll.
Good.
I only have 10, so I would just reroll 5 of them.
Bringing only 10 dice to an Exalted game.
Jesus, it happened again. 1 success on 10 dice. Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
All right, these are the Scion dice. I think I know where I've gone wrong.
That'll learn you.
The wrong game.
Wrong game.
On 15 dice, 3 successes, which is below average.
Sure. You recognize that you don't know, and in fact, if you thinking back on the histories that you do know, you can't think of any single instance where such a thing was just made manifest, kind of out of nothing. Like you can think of times in legend or history where like a god has appeared to offer some sort of aid or has shown up and granted this a gift to one of the Exalted, but never in such a nondescript fashion. Like it's never been like that you're aware of such a mysterious thing, and that leads you to believe that perhaps someone did absolutely get involved, but was taking steps to hide their involvement. The only option that sort of presents itself to you to further investigate that would be if you wanted to try to reach out to any of the gods that would have local influence. You may be able to compel some sort of an answer from them.
I'll relay that, obviously, just so I don't have to repeat what you just said.
Sure.
Just to make sure I'm thinking of the right thing, this would be the kind of thing that like a sidereal would hand deliver.
Absolutely, but none of you know what the fuck a sidereal is.
Well, yeah, obviously. I guess Maris thinks about it in terms of a messenger of the gods would
right
would deliver this unto us, etc., etc., etc.
Like in your way of thinking, this is the type of thing that yes, either a god or a god's envoy would deliver, but usually along with that delivery would be like it would be accompanied by trumpets and fanfare and maybe some instructions.
Or at least
Yeah.
a note.
Yeah.
Here.
What's
Enjoy.
the panoply? That's the word I was looking for.
The worst part about it is a sidereal actually handed it to you and gave you detailed instructions, but you just fucking forgot. It was
Well,
I didn't want to be. I wanted to check for metagame purposes as well.
How
So
do we go and seek out somebody like that if I were to take a little side quest?
right.
Depending on the god that you wanted to reach out to, there are various ways that you could do so. Various rituals, trying to sacrifices, appeasements, things like that.
Okay. I'll keep it in mind. I mean, it might help to know who is on our side and, to reach out directly and ask for help might very well aid us. So,
And a reminder, and anyone who knows Exalted better than me, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I do believe the uh, Immaculate Faith teaches that the gods are ultimately subservient to you in the celestial bureaucracy. So, like, as far as the Dragon Bloods are concerned, you're within your rights to not only ask gods for things, but also order them around.
That checks out.
Wow.
Being terrestrial exalted is, amazing. We are the rightful rulers of creation.
Yeah, that's a little. As I'm saying, don't let it get to our heads. By the way, wow.
Oh, yeah, there's no hope for the Dragon Blood. That's character officer. There's no hope for the Dragon Blooded. They're
Yeah.
they're riding that power trip, and they have been for centuries.
Interestingly enough, I will point out that character wise, that is one of the character traits that you'll notice from Volkan is that he is a lot less power trippy in a lot of ways for a very specific reason. But it's you'll notice like some of the things he says that doesn't really sound like what most Dragon Blooded would mention immediately.
Tracks. Would you want to try to seek that out before going on any other? Because it sounds like there's a couple of options here, right? We've got like some recon. We've got some talk with the gods to figure out what you can figure out. And we've got, we'll say, how do we want to say this? Setting up necromantic traps, I guess is maybe that's not the word I'm looking for necessarily. Like building kill boxes out of bones. How do we want to phrase this?
That doesn't end with the bone zone. That's the punchline.
So how do we want to divide those tasks up, right? Do any of you want to yourselves go out and try to do some sneaking about and doing some reconnaissance? Do any of you yourselves want to go try to entreat with and or summon a god? And I guess Maris would be the only one who could really go and build some armies.
Yeah, I think since it's my thing my little pet project now that I'm working on, I think I'll go try to set up speaking to a god. I mean, I also have like talents that help with the trappings, as in like I could stand from like a, unseen point and try to distract or, lead or, make gestures.
Sure. Yeah. When it comes time to actually start driving those forces into the armies, absolutely. But
Yeah.
that
Like to
would
help out the Skelly boys by
right.
like drawing out with arrows.
Right. Over
Dragon
here.
Bloodeds.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when it comes to that point, yes. But that would be we can resolve that after we resolve the other things.
Yeah.
One of you was really good at sneaking, if I recall properly, right? Was that also Torreya? It was like super
Yeah.
sneaky.
I am a sneaker.
So did you want to? I guess question then becomes: do you want to do some recon about where enemy troops are first, or do you want to try to talk to the god first?
I'll do some recon first just because it'll help our operation.
Sure. While you're doing recon, Maris, are you setting up some corpsey groups?
Yeah. Actually, no. Because I would do it where I know they're likely that the Parallax forces are likely to be. So I need to know where they are first before I can do it. Otherwise, I'm just raising the dead willy nilly, which isn't an approach. But
It is an approach. That's true. Well, the other
Um,
question that you have then, I mean, not that there's necessarily a shortage of bodies right now anywhere on Wujan, but do you want to infect yourself or have your battle group go collect remains to then be transported to the areas of interest?
yes, rather than relying on things being there already, I think that makes the most sense. Is to take the raw materials and then do it on site.
Send them send them body collecting. Go do some recruiting.
Yeah.
If you can't find enough bodies, make some. Excellent. And whilst your team is doing that, what is Vulcan going to focus on?
I honestly don't know.
In the
I
interest
was
of
thinking it in
go-
time. Oh, sorry. I was kind of thinking about it. I think the main thing that I would do is regardless of my poor sneaking ability or whatnot, I do have high presence.
okay.
So I was wondering if I'm able to uh take a little bit of time, even once more, just wrapping my diclave up so it doesn't look like a weapon, and just heading down into the city and try to see if there's anything I can do to help people or try to calm them down or try to get information from any of like the local gangs or anything that could potentially give us a leg up on the troops that are invading.
Sure. Okay, so let's resolve this in this fashion then. Let's start off with Vulcan. Vulcan, you're going to go ahead and since you're sort of working on, you're basically doing crowd work down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that this would be your choice of embassy, performance, or presence.
Mm-hmm.
You pair that with whichever attribute you feel best reflects kind of the demeanor that you are taking.
I'm trying to be slick about it, so I think I'm gonna just try to use finesse and try to go not undetected per se, but more so less forceful in that
Sure.
sense.
We're gonna say because of the just the chaotic nature of the thing, this is gonna be a difficulty 4.
Okay.
But any successes that you get beyond that difficulty, I would allow you to donate as sort of teamwork successes to go to the other 2 to basically help the others do their job a little easier.
Perfect.
And because you are the um, because you're Dragon Bloods, any dice gained from teamwork get a bonus when they're applied. So if you were able to give 1 to each of them, they would become 2. If that makes sense.
Oh, I see. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unfortunately, that will not come to play because I only have 5.
You only have 5 successes.
Yes.
So that's still 1 above your difficulty. So you can
Yes.
give 1 to one of them.
I will give it to, I think, in this case, since Talrea's scouting, I'll give it to Talrea.
Excellent. So and the way that that's reflecting is effectively your 4 successes got you your ability to sort of reach out to them to not only get a basic idea of the status quo, but also you were trying to sort of guide them a little bit, right? Like trying to sort of move them towards. So the 4 lets you do that. The additional successes allow you to sort of, while doing so, provide a distraction for Telrea in various. So there's a couple places where like you're talking to a group and like you turn a little bit so that they turn a little bit, so it's Telrea sort of sneaks around behind them type shit. So what is your ultimate aim as you're speaking to the locals, the gang members, the folks who have survived this? What would you ultimately like them to be contributing to the party when it's all said and done?
Really, mainly just the outline of how they're going to maintain the city, and if later on, if combat uh is around the area, for them to be able to help us with reconnaissance, just as, like, just locals in that sense. And also just kind of like a way, kind of like set up chains of communication, so I know how to let them know when danger is too close and they should, evacuate.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and reflect that because you were successful.
Mhm.
Let's look at that as being effectively a secondary contacts throughout the island. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So go ahead and make a note that you can deploy secondary contacts in terms of gathering information. That being the case, then let's go ahead and have Telrea go ahead and give me your stealth roll. I'm assuming you're going to lean on finesse for that because you're being sneaky. You'll get 2 extra dice thanks to the teamwork effort. Are you going to apply your excellency to this?
Yes.
By all means, roll your bag of dice.
All right.
And we'll see just how perceptive your most perceptive enemy is.
Oh my god. I rolled 17 dice and I got 3 successes.
I know how that feels. What an iteration.
Jeez Louise.
It does happen. This is why whenever somebody starts breaking out like probabilities in math about dice rolls, I laugh. I laugh. Like
Travis
you've
gave
never
us more
actually
essence. The dice gods took it away.
you've never been around dice being rolled, have you? Your fancy math doesn't work so well. All right. Let's see what their chances are of spotting you. Not so great. All right. Though it's tight a couple of times, there's a couple times where you barely get out of the way of being noticed. You do manage to make a good circuit around the city. You have an idea of where everyone is posted. You have an idea of the strength of their numbers, an idea of their forces. This will do 2 things. One, you can sort of tell Maris where to go, in a nice way, not in a tell Maris where to go kind of way. Unfortunately, you did not generate enough successes for this to cause any mechanical benefit to Maris's efforts, but Maris does know kind of where to put the armies. Secondly, you are able to see that they are definitely moving in. They're taking advantage of having that route. Particularly, you notice a ship roll in, and as that ship is rolling in, they are unloading what appears to be a dozen war striders. War striders are effectively magically powered suits of armor. Very dangerous, not fun.
Uh-oh.
So you're able to relay that information as well.
I shall do so.
And then Maris, you're able to now. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's nothing preventing you from having multiple armies raised through.
No, all I need is the will, which is just a dice roll to generate.
Right on.
Unless there's a rule elsewhere in the rule book that says otherwise, obviously.
There's none that I'm aware of. And as far as the duration of those are concerned,
end of the scene if the spell is cast in daylight, end of the session if cast at night. So I guess I'd wait until night to do it. And let Vulcan and Toraya know that this is an issue with the spell, a limitation. Let's say let's phrase it positively. It's a limitation with the spell. So I can only have them active at night, but that I guess allows people to rest.
Sure. That's okay. Well, then I guess the question becomes: are you going to hold off until the evening to do that?
I would, yes, because otherwise they end up. This is like, and they go.
Right on. Beautiful.
So they do crumble to dust as well, so it is a finite resource. So I would, I'd be apportioning things appropriately and keeping some bodies in reserve, in case we need them at the governor's mansion again.
Excellent. And you're not able to learn second circle necromancy, right?
No, dragon blooded are limited to first circle only, which is really annoying, but thematically it's fine. Sorry,
Well, then
thematically appropriate, so it's fine.
Then what we'll do is I will contend, since you're really only kind of able to be at one place at one time. The question then becomes: are you going to sort of gather one big army in one spot, or are you going to sort of have them dump pockets of corpses in places and raise them all, or are you going to strategically place collections of corpses so that as needed you can raise them ad hoc?
It's definitely the latter, because it is a limited resource. Hopefully we'll generate more of the same, but
so
I'm acutely aware that supply will become an issue eventually.
Correct me if you think this is off base, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to go with a war roll to determine where best to place these resources.
No, that works for me.
And then effectively we'll treat it as the number of successes will be the number of body stashes you're able to place around the island. And then narratively, what I will allow you to do is just until they're expended, I'll let you declare as they come up. Like, well, it's a good thing I got a stash of corpses here. Here we go.
Prepared this in advance. Sorry, I just need to. I made the mistake of taking my dice out of the tray, and now there's an empty square thing with a cat nearby.
Well, that'll learn you.
That will learn me. Cat, your face is in the way. 5 successes.
Excellent. So make a note that you have 5 pockets of corpses, and we will whittle those down as we go through the story. So while you're directing your people to sort of hide bodies, the body relocation program, and Vulcan is down among the people gathering intel, directing folks, building that sort of spy network. Torre has made her way through, pointed out all the areas, informed you all of the coming war striders, and we'll say probably an hour before the sun sets, Torre, you have enough time that you can go try to reach out to a local god. Is there a type of god you would prefer? You are water aspected, so maybe reaching out to a god of the ocean might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
I'll head down to like a cliff or something, not the docks.
Sure, yeah, you have the cliffs. You have the
bad
cliffs on the
place.
back side of the manor that give you access to the ocean. You can hear the waves. You can even feel some of despite the great height of the cliff, you can feel some of the ocean spray on your face as you're there, trying to meditate, trying to connect with the gods. Is there anything that you would bring as like an offering, or anything you would like to do to try to treat the the god, and try to bait that god to coming to your aid?
Hmm, what would a ocean god like as an offering?
You could make a sagacity roll to try to see if you can think of something off the top of your head.
Yeah, let's try.
I would let you add your essence as bonus dice because you're water aspected.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 successes. Not bad.
Wonderful. You build like an effigy out of uh, sticks, leaves, various natural items you find about the edge of the shore, wrapping everything around a central stone, and toss that stone into the ocean as a metaphoric self-sacrifice. You make the effigy of yourself and give it to the waves. As you do, the waves sort of crash hard against the side of the cliff face, and as they do, the spray comes up. The spray forms a feminine figure, probably about 3 or 4 feet tall, completely comprised of water. Uh, Thinly enough gathered water that she's almost completely see-through. You clearly recognize this as a naiad, a sort of bottom rung god of water.
Okay.
She says, "You have called me, sister. What compels you to reach out to me?"
Bow very deeply and say, Your Eminence, I call to you now to ask for some guidance. I noticed in the last battle that we fought, my bow here was embedded with jade and blessed with the power of a god. And I wondered if you had any guidance on this, maybe as to why the gods are getting involved with us, which gods in particular, if you know anything about it at all, because it seems as though they wanted to hide their presence from this particular gift, and that is odd.
She holds her hand out toward your bow and says, "May I?"
I'll hand it over.
She rubs along the bow, leaving like a thin film of wetness everywhere she touches, and then hands the bow back to you and says, "It definitely feels of divinity, though it is not immediately known to me. I can send out a call to my cousins and sisters and see if one of them either knows the answer or can pursue the answer. We are far from the city of the gods, but if none of myself nor my immediate siblings and cousins can find you your answer, perhaps one of the closer river gods on the Blessed Isle can reach out. It may take some time, but we will solve this mystery for you."
Oh, I would be immensely grateful. I thank you so much for blessing me with your assistance in this.
Of course. I wish only we could do more.
Indeed. Well, I'm sure you've noticed that things are a little crazy over here.
There's much fighting and a surprising amount of blood, both mortal and dragon blooded, has made its way into myself and my cousins and siblings.
Indeed. Well, I don't know. I offer my thoughts and prayers about that. And look forward to our relationship going forward. It would be nice to, yeah, keep in contact, be informed, and help each other out in the coming time of troubles.
She nods. Thank you, and thank you for your generous patronage, Your Eminence. And she curtsies and says, I will let you know when I know more. And she dives off the cliff.
Bye.
With that, your group begins to regroup as the sun begins to set over Wujian on the next evening of the occupation. And that, I think, is where we'll park the car until next session, unless anyone has anything else they want to address before we hit the road. Wonderful. Any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns about today's session? No? Rock and roll.
No?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. As we discussed earlier, we will theoretically we'll be back here in 2 weeks, but it may be 4 weeks, depending on what people's personal schedules are. Appreciate the heads up on that. Just keep an eye on the Monday meeting notes, folks, and you'll know. But before we, since we have a little time before we run off, let's go ahead and hand out some milestones, shall we? Vulcan, you are air aspected, correct?
I am wood aspected.
You're wood aspected. Wonderful. Then have you experienced something new and exciting to you with a significant character or group, or did your actions foster change in a significant character or group?
Well, I did actually get create a spy network for the first time in Vulcan's life, so
I would
there
say
is that.
that is worth a exalt milestone, so you may take one. And it was Maris who's air aspected, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Did you take an action toward furthering a long-term goal?
I mean, my long-term goal is defending this island from pellets, if that helps.
So yeah, you may take an exalt milestone. And then last but not least, Talea water aspected. Did you adapt your plans to accommodate a significant change of circumstances?
I would say so. Talking to a god, something I've never done before,
Yeah.
to try to figure out what's going on.
I would say yes. The introduction of the bow definitely created a set of circumstances, and you have definitely allowed that to alter your plans. So, you gain an exalt milestone. Let's hand out the rest of the milestones. Let's see what we had here. Give me just a moment. Did, going back around the opposite way, did Telrea have a personal goal or something extraordinary that didn't affect the narrative arc necessarily, but something that directly impacted her? Uncovering important evidence, defeating a rival, describing an amazing stunt. I would say, actually, I'll go ahead and give you that personal milestone for finding the War Striders.
Mm.
That is important information. Did Maris have any personal milestones?
Not dying.
Not dying is handy.
I don't think so. Obviously, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if that intimacy had been challenged, it might have been a milestone. There would have been character growth from that.
I mean, you let your character's personal, I would say you let your intimacy absolutely affect the outcome of this story, right? Because if you had not had that intimacy, you may very well have argued differently.
True.
And that would have had a drastic impact on things. So I would say that a personal milestone would apply here.
Thank you. I'll take
no
it.
Problem. How about for Vulcan?
The only thing I could think of is the very obvious reaction, almost it's not negative, but almost like a guarded reaction to having our essence increased as
Sure.
as it
questioning
very,
that, right?
well, it's not even just questioning that, but also as pertains to like the almost the lack of pride as being a dragon blooded in that sense, that kind of shown a little bit.
Sure.
Seeing where the houses are. So
I love it. Let's do it. And then let's see. You all get a minor milestone just for completing the session. And I would say we have no major milestones triggered this. So if any of you would like to spend those milestones, you may absolutely do so now. Otherwise, if you can do so between now and next session and let us know what you've gone with.
Actually, I have a question about that. Would
Sure.
you be happy with me taking for my personal milestone a tertiary merit that is just a fighting staff that has a fire wand in it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And then other major milestones. My plan, again, if you're okay with that, will just be to, in the background, Maris will be tinkering away at making it into an actual artifact weapon.
Okay.
But has started on that path.
Perfect. Sounds good to me. Did you know offhand what you want to do with your milestones for Vulcan, or did you need a little time?
probably a little time.
Right.
I'll double check on you.
How about for Telrea?
Yeah, I'll think about it.
All right. Cool. Excellent. I am very pleased with how things went. Thank you all so much for being here and being awesome. I love this crew, and it's good to see your faces again. It's been too long.
Indeed.
Also, our lovely audience, I would like to thank you all for being here. I want to, before we run off, I want to remind you that Steam Wars currently on Backer Kit. Let's go snatch that up. The Kaiju stretch goal has been unlocked. No reason not to grab it. Also, would love to remind you, and because it's been a little while since we've been here, and I don't recall if this was ready last time we broadcast. So I'm going to go ahead and just point out to you that right now you can get Deeds Yet Undone, the collection of Exalted Essence adventures, over at DriveThruRPG in POD and PDF right now. In fact, some of the NPCs and perhaps even a few of the plot elements that we are including in this game are plucked from, if slightly altered, from Deeds Yet Undone. So if you like what you're seeing here, go pick up Deeds Yet Undone. I bet you'll love what you see there as well. And then on a personal note, I also want to make everybody aware that I am running Exalted Essence on Start Playing, and I think I have an open seat or two left in my Start Playing game. So I'm going to throw the link to that in the chat as a little bit of self-promotion, and hope that maybe you would consider coming and filling that open seat. You want to come check out Exalted Essence as a player with someone who theoretically has a little bit of experience running it at this point, that would be me. I'm here for you, and I'll throw that link in the chat. And while I do, let's go ahead and have Ryan, please tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, your pronouns, their pronouns, and anything you would like to promote.
Yeah, I'm Ryan, they, them. I play Maris, Tepet Maris, he, him, in this fantastic, extremely enjoyable actual play. And if you think that Exalted Essence is fun to watch, boy, it's more fun to play because you can see all the game text and you're like, I can roll how many dice? One. And this is the streamlined version of the game.
Your story.
I do stream on Twitch Comrade Bubbles. I do have a show on this very channel that's currently on hiatus because my kitten makes my streaming availability and schedule a bit. And she just jumped onto my computer desk and is now on my keyboard. Case in point.
As they do.
I don't know if the Zoom will show it. No, it won't.
No,
she's in my dice tray. She doesn't fit, but she's in my dice tray. So that's on hiatus. Hopefully, return to that soon because she's like 6 months old now and calming down slightly. Where I do community content creation, tips, tricks, and more. And also, while we're on the subject of Start Playing, I have games on Start Playing. It's only D&D and Candela Obscura, but it is games that you can play if you wish.
Ooh, grab your link and toss it in the chat.
Yes.
Whilst you're
someone else does their pertinence.
What's that?
I'll do that while someone else does their pertinence.
Yes. Whilst you're tossing that in the chat, Bliss, please give us your pertinence.
I am Bliss, pronoun she, her. I've been playing Cessus Telrea, also she, her. I am currently on hiatus from streaming right now, but as soon as I come back, I'll let you guys all know. And I don't have anything to promote at the moment, so take care of yourself, get your shots, and stuff.
Do all those things for sure. As always, a pleasure to have you, Bliss. Good to see you again. Look forward to seeing you again soon. And last but never least, Michael, your pertinence, please.
Hello, I am Michael, he, they, playing Cessus Volcan, he, him, man with sword. And I stream on Twitch as Asterisk VTuber, where I do everything from playing games, running different tabletop game writings and stuff, and also music. And I am a composer, voice actor, and musician. And I currently also run a game for Onyx Path Thursdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, every other Thursday. This coming Thursday at called Trinity Continuum Anima Masks in the Mirror. We're winding down on our last few episodes, and it's going to be a grand old time. Yeah, I think that's about it for now. There's a couple things in the future that we'll update, probably give more information next time.
Sweet. Looking forward to seeing where those things land. Awesome. And once again, I'm Travis, he, they. I'm not running games, I'm writing them. Please go check out Steam Wars on BackerKit. Please go check out Ryan's games on Start Playing. Please be sure to tune in and do not miss Masks in the Mirror. And go pick up They Came from the RPG anthology in POD and PDF over at Drive Thru RPG. It's a wonderful, wonderful collection of 11 genres of They Came From, as well as the Story Path Ultra rules in print. It's all there for you. Go snag it up. Tell your friends to do the same. And lastly, the best thing to do in the face of radical hate and radical difficulty is to show radical love. So go do something radical and loving. And while you're at it, get your shots. Stay out of trouble or get into good trouble. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye, everybody.